Well, we're in camp for the start of our 2023 Archery Elk season. Wasn't really even sure if this season was going to happen, to be perfectly honest. Just a kind of a multitude of things leading up to the season. My truck needs a front differential, so I didn't have a vehicle. So I ended up driving my 44-year-old 79 Bronco. It's not really equipped to make a trip like this, but it got us here. And then just a bunch of other things like coordinating schedules and things like that. We're going the first week this year. In the past, past several years, we've gone the second week. So just a lot of different things and some challenges to get here, but we're here now. We're all set up, ready to go. It is Saturday, the 9th. Season opened yesterday, but again, like I said, this was the first day that we could make it. So we're going to be here for 8 days. We're going to leave this upcoming Sunday. We're only able to go after spikes this year, the elusive unicorn spike. So just thrilled to be here. Finally feels like it's real. And we're getting ready now. The camp is all set up. We're getting ready to head out for the first evening. Our priority is to check the trail camera up by the tree stand and then get water. So that's really what we're going to be doing. But along the way, we're going to find some place where we can set up and maybe sit for the evening. See if we hear anything. We haven't heard any bugles, anything like that. But obviously we were hiking in the middle of the day, so it's right around 4 o'clock right now. So we'll see if we can hear anything and if we can get eyes on something even better. But right now we're just trying to get a feel for what's here. We did see a decent amount of fresh sign coming up today. I wouldn't say it was any more or even maybe as much as what we've seen in previous years, but there was some fresh signs, so we know they're here, and now we just got to figure out where they're at. So here we go. Man, that was awesome. That's 2 days in a row we've had big bulls within 40 yards. Okay, it's about 7 o'clock on the first night. We're up kind of on this ridge that we've come to before, and we basically just started calling, and kind of non-stop. And it's been silent, and eventually we got one to respond, but he's way across the canyon. And in fact, it might have been two, not sure. Responded fairly frequently, but never seemed like it was coming. And it's quite a ways over there, so. But it was cool. Like, really, I was just hoping. It's our first night, so we only had a couple hours, and we still have to go get water and then get back to camp. So really the goal was like, are they talking? Can we hear a couple? Can we kind of locate where they are? So we kept calling, they kept responding, or at least the one did. But eventually, and I don't know, how long do you think? Is it 30 minutes maybe? That we were calling? Oh no, I mean, like from the time we started calling to the time we saw him. Yeah, probably 30, 40 minutes. But eventually right down below me, and I don't know if I got any of this on video because something was coming up, right? So I'm trying to get my bow and nock an arrow because we don't know what it is. Well, I heard walking and crashing, and pretty soon I saw tines, but initially I thought it was just one, so I thought it was a spike. So it was like, okay, this is a legal bull. Well, then I just leaned back and whispered to Ralph, just like 10 yards away, not even 5 yards away, I see it. And it either heard that or it heard something on me rattle, but it turned and looked, and then it was not a spike. It was a big bull. It was a 6-point. It was wide. I mean, I don't know. It was wide. It was a big bull. And all I could see was his rack over the top of the trees right there through the opening. He's at like 40 yards. I just ranged a tree right there, and it was 39.5, and he was right even with it in another opening. And then he figured out, okay, and I'm kind of standing in the open because we were just calling across. But anyway, he spun and busted. I had the camera pointed that way. I don't know. I won't know until probably get home and look at it whether I got any of it or not. But first night, I mean, that's awesome. There wasn't any bugling going on, anything going on until we started. So I'm pretty pumped now. I mean, that's good. It's a good start for the week. Yeah.
They're talking and they're responding.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we're gonna have to go get water. It kind of sucks that we busted him out. Like, I didn't necessarily want to do that, but it was great that we were able to get him to respond and then get one to come in. So we're gonna go get water and head back to camp. Good morning. It's Sunday. This is our first full day of hunting. We're still in camp and it's light, but we really just wanted to kind of sit and listen, see if we heard anything, which then might kind of dictate what our plan was for the day. But we haven't heard anything. We did a little bit of calling, not much, but yeah, no bugles, haven't heard anything. So last night, we only had a couple hours. We went up to the tree stand. There's a trail camera up there. We checked that. A lot of activity up there. And then for the last few hours of the night, we just kind of moved out onto a ridge and started calling into what we call Hell's Canyon. And after, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, finally got the first response. And then we consistently were getting bugles. So it was great to hear that. That was really what, my only goal was for last night, was hopefully be able to hear something. We did. But then after 30 or 40 minutes, we actually got a bull to come in to 40 yards. It was a nice bull. I don't know if I got it on video. I'll have to see once I get home and can watch it. But nice bull, 40 yards. So that was great. Makes me a lot more optimistic for the week. And then we went to get water, and the place where we normally get water, it's a spring, it's a creek. It was just a trickle. So we were there for almost an hour, and it was dark. And we only got like one jug of water. So we're going to have to figure out what that looks like for the rest of the week. Water's going to be a challenge. But we heard another bull bugling not too far away from us, several hundred yards away from us when we were there. We called to him. He never did come in. So I think that's where we're going to go this morning, since we know there was some over there. We've kind of just been trying to figure out like what that's going to look like with the wind. It's a hard place to get into. The wind is just never right. And so that's what the plan is for this morning, since we haven't really heard anything. And we'll see where we end up from there. So morning one, here we go. Looks like a spot where a bull was raking on the ground. Well, you can really see it, but we're not seeing a lot of fresh sign, but we are seeing some rubs and some things like this. So I don't think there's a lot of elk in here, but I think there's some bulls that are hanging out. This is the man cave, or at least part of it. Probably gonna spend a little while here. that was awesome. We're over in the area we call the Man Cave, and it's about noon right now. We hiked over here. We weren't seeing a lot of sign, but we were seeing some bull signs, some kind of raking on the ground. So we got kind of all the way to the end of this ridge, and on the one side is it's kind of north facing, it's thick timber, and it's just steep as hell, and deadfall everywhere. I wouldn't go down there. There's no way I'd go down there. The only way I'd go down is if I shot something and it went down there and I had to go down there after it. It's nasty, but I figured, well, there's a good chance that's where some things might be bedded today. So we got out to the end of that ridge. We just started eating lunch, and we weren't sitting there, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, if that, and we heard a bugle, but it was kind of distant. I wasn't even sure if it might have been a hunter. So we just kept eating and listening, and we were just kind of talking, and then, another 10 minutes later, whatever, it went again. And that sounded a little bit more like a real bull, but it still sounded a little bit distant. It might have been laying down, I don't know. So I walked out to the very edge then, and I started cow calling, and it wasn't very long, and it just fired off, and it was gnarly. You knew immediately that's a real elk, and it wasn't that far away. So I ran back to my stuff, grabbed my stuff, told Ralph I'm going after it, and headed off down the ridge towards it. I don't know, I got probably maybe 60, 70 yards, sat down, called again, and it was like almost on top of me, so it had started coming. So I hopped over behind these big logs, like similar to the one that's behind me. I have two in front of me like that, and set up the camera and started calling, and it was like right there. I ranged it, and I think I'm hitting some branches. Rangefinder says like 35 yards, but I'm pretty sure it was like 40. It was a big bull. I couldn't see. I mean, I could see him clearly, and he was broadside for a portion of the time where it was awesome. But I couldn't always see his full rack, so I just knew when he turned his head, it was wide, and he was a big bull. It was awesome, and he bugled like right next to me. I actually don't know where he's at right now. He could see right here. He's only 40 yards away. You can see right here. I see there was no cows. I was just trying to get him to step out. If he'd come a couple more yards, he would have stepped out into the open, and I would have gotten like full view of him. But they don't do that ever, I don't think. But anyway, so he just turned and walked off. Like the wind was right and everything. So it was, man, that was awesome. That's 2 days in a row I've had big bulls within 40 yards. Oh, man. Just got to find the elusive unicorn spike. Oh my gosh, that's why we're out here. Oh my gosh, that was so freaking cool when he bugled so close, and he had just a gnarly bugle. Man, does that get your heart pumping. I don't know, like I haven't obviously watched the video, played it back, but I feel like you're gonna hear my heart beating, even though the camera is like, 2 feet away from me. I could hear my heart beating in my breath, and I wasn't even gonna shoot. Man, that's cool. That's so cool. Midway through the first full day. Hopefully lots more to come. Love this stuff. Alright, do a quick update. It's probably about 4:45 or so. After we had that encounter with that bull this morning, we went and got water again because we weren't able to get as much as we needed last night, and it was on the way back. So we got water, and then we went back to camp to drop that off, and then we actually just hung out there for an hour or two. We cut some firewood and just took a break. Now we're back up on the same spot that we were last night when we called that bull in. And we're just waiting for things to kind of cool off a little bit. The wind is, like usual, all over the place. So we're just waiting for it to cool down, and then we're going to start calling and see what happens, and we'll kind of adjust from there depending on if we hear responses and where we hear them. And ultimately, we need a spike. So seeing these bulls is really awesome, but we got to find a way to get a spike to come in. So that's the number one priority. I think it's still going to be primarily cow calling that gets it done, but I'll update later if there's anything else to share. Just had a bull right down there, probably 50 yards. He came in quiet, didn't know he was there. Then he busted. He did stop though, so I don't know if he's still down there. I didn't get a good look at him. Ralph heard him. I was calling, I was clunking. Doggone it. I think he's gone. He didn't wind us, but I think he saw me. I'm sitting out on this point because it's kind of windy. You might be able to hear it, so I'm trying to get my calls to project out there, but I'm exposed. We haven't heard anything. We've heard one bugle. We thought it was probably a hunter, and then it's been dead silent, so we didn't think anything was responding. Sure enough. See if maybe we can get him to circle back around. End of the first full day. Hiking back to camp right now. It's probably about 7:30. It's a pretty good day. We had that bull this morning. Came in. I walked out to where he was and ranged back to where I was, and it was in fact 32 yards. That's what the rangefinder said. I didn't trust it. I thought I was hitting branches or something. That was awesome. Then this evening we went back to where we were last night and started calling around 5 o'clock. Started to get some responses, but it's pretty slow. And then Ralph got my attention, and a bull had come in silent below me. And by the time I saw him, he'd already wheeled and started to run. And the camera wasn't on or anything, so by the time he did stop. We got him to stop with a call, but by the time I got the camera on and got it pointed that way, he had left. And then about an hour later, we had a bull start responding. He was way off. And when he started responding, our wind was still angling uphill. But by the time he got to us, our wind had kind of shifted and was probably going right to him. So he got to, I would guess, 50 yards. I mean, the last bugle, you can hear it in the video, he was on top of us. I mean, we were expecting him to step out or be able to see him at any moment. And it's just like radio silence. Just, we never heard him bust. We never heard any branches snap. He didn't bark. He didn't bugle again. I mean, it was just like we never heard another peep the entire rest of the evening. He's just gone like a ghost. It's crazy how they can make so much noise and also be so quiet, but pretty good day. No unicorns yet. We still got, I think, 7 days left. See you in the morning.